Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. If you'd like to know more about my knitwear designs, please check in the description below, where you will find a link to my Ravelry designer page, where you can see all of the patterns I have for you to knit up for yourself. Also in the description below, you will find a link to the Watch Barbara Knits Facebook group. We'd love to have you come over and join us. It's a place where we can continue the conversations that we start here on the YouTubes, and as always, I love chatting with people in the comments. So if you have some thoughts, let me know what they are below. Today is a pattern tour because the very first pattern of 2019 is here, and I know a lot of you are going to be super surprised. It's a shawl. But no, you're not surprised, and I know you're not surprised. This shawl is, if you're in the Watch Barbara Knits Facebook group, a little while ago last year, I asked y'all to pick out colors of Crater Lake. It's a Stitch Sprouts yarn, and it is a bulky yarn, and a lot of you told me to, I was just loving this color, and y'all told me to go for it. You said, yes, I can do red. So this colorway is Mount Scott, and I just love how it came out. Now, the name of this pattern is Baikal Bubbles. Don't know if I pronounced it right, but that's how that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm just going to toss this on real quick. So to start off with, why did I name it that? You're like, that's weird. So Lake Baikal is in Siberia, and if you Google it online, and frozen, the word frozen, it is apparently this huge freshwater lake, like the largest one in the world, right? I'm fussing. I'll fuss with this later and make it look really nice. Nope, there we go. That looks better. So the largest freshwater lake in the world, but apparently it also has, I think it was a methane, I don't know, a seep of non-oxygen gassy kind of stuff. So in the winter it freezes like solid for like feet, but it's ultra clear, and this methane, this lighter than air, bubbling up from the bottom, the bubbles freeze into the surface. And if you Google this and look for the pictures are really cool, because what it is you're looking down on these columns of varying size bubbles dropping down into this frozen clear ice. And it looks really cool. And that is what I thought these columns of yarn overs looked like. So that's why it has a crazy name. And this is an asymmetrically shaped triangle, meaning that it starts right here at this little tiny tip with only like 3 or 4 stitches. Here, I can actually check. 4 stitches. It starts with 4 stitches, and it gradually gets larger, only like 1 stitch every 2 rows, and you have a setup that goes from here to here, and then you have a repeat, and the repeat is only like this wide, and it just keeps getting wider, and you keep adding more bubbles, and it gets wider, and you add more bubbles, and you just keep on going. I gotta go slow so I don't make anyone nauseous, until at the end I have this sort of fake picot bind off. And what this is this is a double yarn over space, and you bind off 4 times into it, which creates this big loop. And I think it's a really fun trim and a fun way to end this, but it's just the bind off. It's nothing like super fancy. Now, the other thing that we're looking at is these giant holes you can see here. And they are, so you got giant hole, regular hole, giant hole, regular hole. And these are double yarn over spaces, and these are double yarn over spaces. And you're like, but how can they both be double yarn overs and still look different sizes? And the way I did this is on the right side for the giant yarn overs, you're going to work a double decrease, which takes 2 stitches out, a double yarn over, and then a double decrease. And if you do your math, you'll notice since both double decreases took out 2 stitches, I removed 4 stitches, but as there's double yarn over, I only brought 2 stitches back in. So my stitch count is off. The way I deal with that is on the return row, when you hit that double yarn over, you knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1 into that double yarn over. And so you've brought your 2 stitches back, but since there's 4 stitches worked into that, it makes the yarn over stay open more. Isn't that cool? It's cheating. I like to cheat, and it's sort of borrowing a trick from crochet, where in crochet you frequently it's crocheting into the space between, and you can make things bigger. So this is actually a relatively straightforward pattern. It has double decreases, and then it has also knit together and slip slip knit. It's got single decreases and double yarn overs, and that's about it. It's got a little bit of purling, slip slip knit, knit 2 together, and Bob's your uncle. Now, one thing you might see about this particularly is that it's lace in bulky yarn, which is something I am currently mildly obsessed with. I love working bulky yarns in lace because it takes, so when you think of lace, you tend to think of beautiful, delicate, little, tiny, intricate work, which I love. Don't get me wrong. I will do that all day and twice on Sunday. But when you take big old yarn and work lace in it, it changes it from being this delicate little, and turns it into this bold, graphic look. Also, in my quest of making things that I can actually wear in the South, because it's hot down here, it allows me to wear bulky yarns, because bulky yarns tend to be heavy because they're bulky. And the things people make out of bulky yarn tend to be on the heavier side because it's natural. It makes total sense. But when I take this bulky yarn and I make myself something lacy, it's something that will work, multiple seasons. You know what? What am I doing? Okay, let's actually seriously see how we can style this. So what I'm going to do here is take this fat end and throw it over my shoulder so it drapes nicely. I'm using you guys as a mirror. And then I'm going to pull this around. There we go. That's cool. It just takes a little actually paying attention. When I try to talk and do it at the same time, it's kind of like, and then I can chew some gum and then we will actually fall over. So let me get a few more of the specifics for you. It uses a US size 11 needles. So that is another major bonus to bulky yarns. They're crazy fast. It knits up really, really fast. And I edited it out, but I actually made my chair higher so you can see this. You can see it better, right? Now, again, I was saying that it's the big needle, it's big yarn, it goes super fast, it knits up crazy fast, much faster than you would think. The final measurements are 16 inches by 53 inches. So the 16 inches is going to be from the neckline to the widest point, like the deepest point. And then 53 inches is this direction. And then we have gauge, and you need 2 skeins of the Crater Lake. That's a total of 220 yards. So 220 yards, a size 11 needle, and you can have yourself a shawl, depending on how dedicated you are, in 2 to 3 days. You can knit them up pretty fast. The pattern it's entirely written out, but then also done with instructions so you can use charts. This is one pattern, though I will say I wrote out the instructions and worked it entirely from written. I think that the charts for once on this one are actually a little bit more challenging because I used a marker and there's a lot of repeat this motif till marker kind of situation. And it's actually easier to explain in written instructions than it is in the chart. So, but you can work from either way depending on what you like. Let's see here. What else can I tell you about this? I love it. I'm excited about it. I hope you all like it too. Once again, the lovely model, if you go and look at the pictures on Ravelry, is my beautiful mother. I don't know how many more times she's going to let me sucker her into doing this, but I'm going to do it as long as possible because one of the things I really believe in, and if you go and look at my pattern photographs, is that knitters come in all shapes, sizes, ethnicities, ability level, gender, everything. And unfortunately, I feel sometimes when we look at like Ravelry and we look at the pattern pages, we're really only seeing the fashion ideal. That's a very specific looking type of person. And as a independent designer, you know, I get to pick out whoever I want to, or whoever I can con into being my model. So I have always tried to use people who maybe will push the envelope or bring some sort of diversity that you're not normally seeing, be it race, be it age, be it, I managed to talk this one woman at Rhinebeck. She was absolutely lovely. And she had this beautiful head of gray hair. And you know what? Half the women who come into my yarn store have gray hair. I hope to one day have beautiful silver hair. It's kind of hard sometimes when you're looking at a perfect model to visualize that garment on yourself. That is why I even occasionally get in front of the camera myself to model, because I am not a small girl. I am plus size. It's all different. Okay, I got off on a little tangent, but I just wanted to let y'all know that I have this new pattern. Let me show you it all the way opened up. Let me lean back. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So there we go. So it is not a huge shawl. So, but it is long enough to wrap around. It's long enough to do the bandit cowl thing. Like that, you know. It's hard to style when you're sitting down. I do not advise it. But you know, you can. I'm going to hold this still one last time so y'all can see it. This is Baikal Bubbles, and it is a chunky weight shawl on size 11 needles in Crater Lake from Stitch Sprouts. The color is Mount Scott. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button, and if you'd like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.